Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to our YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we're going to be continuing our AFL 2022 round previews. Yes, round previews, we're back for another big one. And today we're going to be looking at every game of round 13 of the 2022 AFL season. We've got some massive blockbusters in here and some really season-defining games for some clubs which can really just about end their season where it is at. For one big club in particular as well, which we're going to be going over them today as well. But anyway, let's just go back and have a little look at round 12. So it started off on the Friday night where the Western Bulldogs couldn't beat the Cats. The Cats just being the better side. The Crows got over the Eagles comfortably, as did the Suns over the Roos. The Swans somehow got over the Demons in an upset. The Pies got over the Hawks, and the Dockers over the Lions, with the buys being Carlton, Essendon, Port Adelaide, Richmond, St Kilda, GWS. Now, actually, you will see Carlton, Essendon, and Port Adelaide, Richmond do play each other in this round as well. So some big games. The buys for this round: Adelaide, Geelong, Sydney, West Coast, Western Bulldogs, and Gold Coast. So some big clubs having some buys. So why not? Let's start the round preview. So Richmond versus Port Adelaide will begin us on the Thursday night. Yes, Thursday night footy does return. Really looking forward to Thursday night footy returning. And it is a big blockbuster which will welcome us back this time slot. Now, it is a massive game. It is a season-defining game for this club, Port Adelaide. Now, Port Adelaide have had a hard run of things early on, going 0-5 to begin the year. Yes, that is tough. And they've come back pretty well to be 5-6, but a few big losses. And if they do lose this game, it does get quite tough for them. With Sydney to come in 14 and 15, I believe they have Melbourne. It's not very favourable for them. They could go 5-8 with ease, which leaves them the back end of the year to get things right, which is quite considerably tough. For Richmond, they're in a bit of a better position. They have done pretty well. They're sitting just outside the 8 due to, of course, having their bye last week, and Collingwood not. So if they do win this, they'll jump back into the 8 due to percentage. Richmond sit 10th on the ladder. Port Adelaide sit 12th. Richmond are favourites to win this game, and why not? Why wouldn't they be favourites at the G? They're a good team at the G. Well, they're a good team anyway, Richmond. So I've said Richmond by 19 points to beat Port Adelaide in a massive Thursday night blockbuster. Could go 50-50, but to be completely honest, I would be surprised if Port Adelaide were to get over the line, considering it is at the G and Richmond do play traditionally well there. Now, also at the G for Friday night is Essendon versus Carlton. Big game, this one, for Carlton. Now, they sit 7th on the ladder, of course, having their bye last week, and Essendon sits 16th on the ladder. I don't know why or how this is the Friday night game, to be completely honest. There is other games that probably should have been in this time slot other than this one. But, I mean, who knows? Essendon might really put up a fight with Carlton. We've got no idea. Unfortunately enough, we can't go to the future. But Carlton, this is a big one. They need to try and jump back into the top 4. This is the perfect time to do so, with a big win over the Bombers as well. If they do well enough, they could get massive percentage out of this game. And this does loom as a danger game for Essendon, who their season's been a mess. Their wins coming over Hawthorn and Adelaide, both at Marvel Stadium. I don't see their season getting any better for them. Would be extremely surprised if the Bombers were to win. I'm saying Carlton by over 40 points. I reckon they've got this game really easily in the bag. Just because of their brilliant list that they've got. Carlton for me. Fremantle versus Hawthorn, and Brisbane versus St Kilda. Only 2 Saturday games this round, but Freo versus Hawthorn is the first one. Now, this is wet weather footy, so when I was actually doing my tipping, I was making sure that I wasn't getting fooled by Fremantle. Even though it may be the Optus Stadium versus a not-so-great team in Hawthorn, I didn't say they were smashed because it looks like it may be wet weather. And in wet weather, we know Fremantle haven't been the greatest in the past. So Hawthorn could spring from nowhere and cause an upset. Of course, so the Dockers are 3rd on the ladder. Hawthorn are 13th. So I would be extremely surprised if there was to be an upset because it's foreign ground for the Hawks. And Freo know this ground so well. But Hawthorn are a slight chance if the conditions favour them. Wet weather footy, of course. Now, I said the Dockers by 26. Pretty happy with that as well. Very happy with that margin of 26. I feel like they'll win. It's not going to be any way convincing, but wet weather footy, they're going to have to get used to it eventually, and I feel like this is the game where it's against not such a great opponent, and I feel like they'll be able to win this game. Not by overly a lot, but by a bit, which is an important game for the Dockers. So, Dockers for me, but I still feel like the Hawks, if it's wet weather, will put up a fight. Otherwise, if it's not, they could be out in this game pretty quickly. But even though the Hawks, they aren't actually too bad either on the flip side. They're not that bad. So they could cause a big upset and beat the Dockers. But again, though, I still feel like the Dockers will win this game. Now, on to Saturday night footy. Brisbane versus St Kilda up at the Gabba. Now, this one is actually two very quality teams going head-to-head. Brisbane sit second. St Kilda sit fifth. This is a game... This is game on up at the Gabba. So really looking forward to this one. But it is at the Gabba. Now, I do know last time the Lions played at the Gabba, they got a 14-point narrow win over the GWS Giants. Now, yes, they're not the best opponent, but I do still feel like Brisbane will win the game. They're just too strong up at the Gabba. But St Kilda are really going to give it a fight, I reckon. I've said the Lions by 20 points. Pretty happy with that margin. I feel like just because it's their ground, they know this ground a lot better than what St Kilda do. But I just feel like Brisbane will just be the better team in the end, winning by 20 points in a thriller until the final term, where Brisbane will just run away with the victory. Such a quality unit. Both teams such a quality unit, and I reckon both teams are a good chance for the top four. But I think Brisbane will just be the better of the sides, considering it's at the Gabba. If it was at Marvel Stadium, I reckon it probably would have been a whole different story, and I probably would have tipped St Kilda. But just because it's at the Gabba, I am tipping Brisbane, which is a safe tip. St Kilda could definitely pull off the upset. Wouldn't be surprised if that was to happen, but just at the Gabba, you just got to back Brisbane, in my opinion. North Melbourne versus GWS is the Sunday game. I don't see this game being good. I don't see North Melbourne giving it up to GWS either. I feel like GWS will walk out winners from the first siren of the game. I feel like North Melbourne will not be fighting in this one either. I just feel like the Giants will just be too strong. I believe that, yes, they had their bye last week. So their last result is a 14-point loss to Brisbane up at the Gabba, which I reckon most teams would probably take that. Like, for a team where you are with the Giants 15th and you're competing with one of the best teams in the competition, only going down by 14 points at their home ground, I don't think that's too bad of a loss, to be completely honest. And you scored 96 yourself, so I think that's something to be... It's a mini win out of a loss, if you get what I mean. So I feel like GWS will win this game very convincingly. I just don't see North Melbourne really being a chance in this one, and GWS will win the game by more than 40, even though it's at Marvel, but I still feel like the Giants will win this game quite convincingly. North are 17th, GWS are 15th. It's not like it's going to be that great of a game to watch. Collingwood versus Melbourne is on Monday. Of course, Big Freeze 8 and the Queen's Birthday clash. Now, this one, Collingwood sit 8th on the ladder, Melbourne sit 1st. Now, if Collingwood were to win, this is going to cause havoc across the whole competition. Collingwood are going to really fight for a spot in the top 8 and, well, really actually can't even come into contention with the top 4, to be completely honest, if they win this game. And Melbourne, on the flip side, would be in some real trouble losing 3 games in a row. So this game, actually, there's a lot on the line for winner and loser. Loser, if Collingwood lose the game, well, then they will probably fall back out of the 8. If Melbourne lose the game, Brisbane or Freo may even overtake them in top of the table. If Collingwood win the game, they can actually have a strong chance of attacking the top 4. And if Melbourne win the game, well, they will hold on to first position and stay clear. So, for the winner, there's a massive result coming up. So, I mean, if it's a draw, which could even possibly happen, well, then the scenario kind of gets chopped in half. But look, I reckon this game is big for both teams. Both teams have an even chance of winning it. I have tipped Melbourne by 4. I think they will win the game. But again, whoever wins it, it's a 50-50 game. Wouldn't be surprised whoever wins it. Collingwood 8th, Melbourne 1st. Wouldn't be surprised with whoever wins it, but the winner has a big advantage going in for the rest of the year. and the loser would not be very happy. Adelaide, Geelong, Sydney, West Coast, Western Bulldogs, and Gold Coast all with the buys this round. So 14, Richmond, Carlton, St Kilda, Essendon, Port Adelaide, Sydney, West Coast, Geelong, GWS, Western Bulldogs, and Gold Coast Adelaide is what's 14. Brisbane, Collingwood, Fremantle, Melbourne, big teams having buys. North, Hawthorn also joining them in the buys. Now, the ladder, as I said before, if Collingwood win versus Melbourne, they will be joining this list of players on teams on 32 points. Now, obviously, percentage doesn't really suit them at the moment, but if there was to be, they could really catch up. Now, obviously, they'll have their bye, so they will fall out of favour again. But they can have a chance. They can have a chance of making the top 4. But if they do win the game, though, they will be ahead in the race for the 8. So, pretty critical as well. And if Richmond were to lose, that even favours them even more. So, yeah, they've got some really big moments coming up. Do Collingwood to whether they can make the 8 or not. And some big teams as well. Port Adelaide, Western Bulldogs, Richmond, Gold Coast. Some big activity around them clubs as well. So, I reckon that's going to wrap us up for another video. I'll go over my tips. Richmond, Carlton, Fremantle, Brisbane, GWS, and Melbourne. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.